Hello, my people. Welcome to Chazah. My name is Valerie, and if you don't know already, Chazah means vision in Hebrew. We've created Chazah to inspire young Black entrepreneurs to succeed in their business. Today, we have a very special guest in our midst. Why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Hi, thank you. My name is Leslie Nikwe.
So, Mr. Nikwe is a businessman and he works in the health and social care industry. So, what do you do? What is BSI Healthcare? What type of services do you offer?
All right, thank you for this opportunity. Bsi Healthcare is a health and social care provider organization. We do a good number of things. So we are a CQC registered care provider. We also are a recruitment agency. So we provide jobs for carers and healthcare workers, nurses and co to other care homes around the Midlands area at the moment. And then we also have a consulting arm. So we help people who are interested in setting up in business, particularly in the health and social care sector. We are able to offer them the help. We also are into domiciliary care, and starting from next month, we're aiming to look at supported living. So, in a nutshell, that is what we do.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what does BSI stand for?
Okay, BSI stands for Brilliant Synergies International.
That's a big word.
Yeah. The background of that name was the first name for what is now called BSI was Brilliant Care Limited. But at the time, I was going into international business. So I needed a name that would be reflective of what I'm going to be doing. And I thought that there is serious synergistic effects in putting things together, which means 1 + 1 is equal to 3. That's why I had the name Synergy in there, until I zoomed back into the health and social care sector, and then I decided to keep it, but then rather keep it short. So BSI Healthcare.
How did you come up with the name for the company?
Yeah, I love brilliance, and I think brilliance is sweet. So I wanted to premise the name of the organization with the word brilliant, and that is why. And then the synergy is because I know the value of 1 + 1 being 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And then international. I want to be global.
Amen. Amen. How did you come up with this business? Why did you decide to go in this industry in particular?
Yeah. Over the last 19 years, I've been working in the sector. As a carer, I started off as a carer. Then 5 years after being a carer, I ventured into starting my own care home. So after like 10 months of sweat, I had 3 care homes providing for Birmingham City Council and also social services. So that is what sort of gave me the impetus to want to believe that I can do more.
Right.
And ever since, I've never looked back because I think I have the passion for helping people. That is why I decided to start off my business in this sector.
Okay. So job-wise, what were you doing before this business? Want to look a little bit into your background?
My background, okay. So by education and training, I'm a business person. I've learned business from secondary school through to postgraduate. And so I knew I definitely want to go into business.
And where was that?
I started off in Ghana and I came to do my postgraduate here.
Okay.
I did accountancy, I did a bit of finance. Whilst I was in Ghana, I had then newly qualified as an investment broker before I came here. So upon coming here, I was trying to look around for finance jobs, but they were not coming back. And it was through the advice of my wife, who was then working in the health and social care sector as a carer, who told me, Leslie, why don't you quit looking for work with the Barclays and stuff and then go into the sector? And I took a gamble on that. And I realized I am wired for that. That is why I'm still in it 19 years now.
When did you start the business?
My first care business, that's Brilliant Care, that was in 2009. But before, I've had a couple of failed companies. I had one on door to door, which floundered. I had one for cleaning services that also failed. And then I had Brilliant Care.
So failing, coming back. How did that make you feel? And how did you get the strength to decide that, okay, I'm going to try this again and it's going to be successful?
Okay, the beauty is in each failure, I never lost strength because my strength is always top notch. And I don't allow failure to break me. And even failure is success in waiting. And so if I thought I had failed in one, I knew tomorrow will be better. Yeah. And to tell you the truth, with all the experience that I have now, I learned them from failure, not from textbooks. So I simply cannot make those old mistakes again. And thankfully, through my consulting business, I'm passing that on to people. And I'm happy to know that people are even making money more than I'm making.
Wow, so why did you decide to become a business owner?
I wanted financial freedom. I wanted to own my time. I wanted to be able to live worthwhile. I realized that if you want, you cannot be independent if you are working for somebody all of your life. So there has to be a time when you have to sort of take the gamble and say that, you know what, I'm going to fight for something that I can call mine. And that is it.
So what made you decide to start a business in this industry, in the healthcare industry?
I think I'd already mentioned that that is the area that I thought gave me enough reason to believe that that is where I need to go to, because I've got I felt fulfilled anytime I finished a shift, knowing the difference that I've made in a service user's life. And so I thought that there is more that I can do for in this sector than going into the finance one. And with the finance and the banking one, I'm going to be talking to computers. But with this one, you're going to be dealing with people with varying degrees of attitudes and behaviors and challenges and all of that. And that is fun to me.
What struggles did you face when you first started?
When I first started, it was a case that I'm coming from a culture that is almost like opposite in certain respects to the British culture. So what I thought was allowable in Ghanaian culture, I thought I could just straight away bring it here for it to be allowed. But I realized it didn't work that way. So first of all, I had to learn and unlearn some of the things which were like opposite to your UK culture so that I can fit in. And one of the things was being late and having an excuse for being late.
Okay, right. So how did you secure funding for this business? How did you make sure that you had enough people to invest in your business, or were you the only one investing in it?
Yeah, I was the only one invested in it. And for the record, BSI is the baby of myself and my wife. Yeah, so the two of us, we came together to form this. It is instructive for you to know that we started with zero capital.
Right.
What I brought was my energy. What she brought was her energy to want to see this business work. And it was through my knocking on doors to see who I can speak to for signposting, who worked with the government department. He booked an appointment with me. I had to sort of pitch to him as to what I want to do. And he said, you know what, Leslie, I can help you. So he sourced funding for us, and that was about $8,000 in 2009. And unfortunately, that money was limited to using that to buy computers and desks and all of that. And that is what I used to do. And so I was working full time as a carer in the nights. When I go home after dropping my kids off in school, I come to the office, be the carer from morning till nighttime.
It must have been tough.
Some of the time, for 3 weeks, I will go home like twice for my wife to see my face, because we didn't have money to pay staff until the business started growing a bit. When we moved from 1 home to 3 homes, then we had to employ carers. And that one was going to be a challenge in terms of working capital. So for me, I always go to the right places to seek for help. Right. Even if you don't want me, I'll come to you. So I went to the job center, and I spoke to them that, you know, I'm a new employer. I don't have money to pay carers, but I'm happy to get carers and get carers trained with qualification, and also get an opportunity to get a job. And they said, oh, there is this government scheme called the Neighborhood Renewal Fund.
Okay.
And what that does is people who've been perennially unemployed and are willing to train and retrain to get into work, government will pay the first 6 months of their wages to the employer. Okay. And I said, hey, madam, I'm in. And so they signed me up, and then I was in. So what I had to do, I had to show evidence that I have paid them first, and I have to take their pay slip to the DWP for them to pay, reimburse me. So that is how I was able to get my working capital challenges sorted. And I was putting in a lot of hours. So at a point, I think I had 16 carers working for me over the course of the 3, how do you call it, the 4 years that I ran the business for. Yeah, across 3 homes.
3. Okay, so we mentioned about financial support. What about the emotional support? When you were going through all of this, who was there to help you?
My wife is my backbone. I mean, outside of God, who is the almighty backbone, my wife is my human backbone. And if I have 10,000 people.
Okay. So in terms of struggles, what kind of struggles do you face now? You mentioned about the struggles that you faced when you first started. What about now? You started in 2013, you said? How is it going now?
Just to touch on the 2009 to 2013 challenges, it was more like as I said, financial, and also there were a bit of regulatory bottlenecks that, because I didn't have what it took, I couldn't go to some places. And again, it was about the commissioning, getting the contracts. When they sort of changed it to bidding and all of that, and it became a challenge for a small business like me. So it was as though all the big businesses were going to the big companies, already established ones. So I had to sort of decide to see if I want to come out of it. Yeah. I had an opportunity to provide for one of the mental health trusts in the Midlands. I don't want to mention the names. And we had even a pre-contract agreement in place where it was going to be like £2,400 a week, looking after, how do you call it, 16 to 25-year-olds with mental illness.
Right.
So I was in the process of trying to set that up and then get CQC coming, and then I couldn't go any further because there were a lot of they had frozen new registrations then because of failings in the system, and I couldn't wait. So all this while I was waiting for CQC to go through whatever, I was just like paying rent, paying staff in an empty room, empty house. Remember, all the clients I had, they had to move on once they were 18. So it got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. So I had to wind up the business, and I came home with minus £38,000 loss, never to recover a penny.
That's tough. That's very tough.
That was 2013. And because of that, because I had been like working on my own for a while, I tried going back to work, and it was difficult. So I had to be unemployed for 11 months. Then I was on job seekers allowance. It was during my job seekers allowance benefit days. One of the days I had gone to sign on to get my £58 whatever weekly pay. Then I chanced on an advert that if you are unemployed, you can train for free as an assessor.
Took the opportunity.
Or tutor. And I said I would do it. Sadly, my job advisor told me, no, Leslie, you need to go learn forklift driving. You cannot go do this teaching course, whatever. And I said, I want to go do. He said, if I do, he's going to withdraw the money. And I called his bluff. At the time, I didn't even have money to buy petrol. So by the time I get to the training place where I'm going for the course, I need to call my wife to transfer money into an account to buy £5, £10 petrol to get me home. And it was a struggle, so I had to look for cleaning job. And because my CV had gone into the system already, they knew that, oh, this guy is only using cleaning as a stepping stone. So I couldn't get even a job. So 11 months after, then I got a job through the training I did when I was on benefit as an assessor tutor. So I got an opportunity to work for a college in Birmingham. And I sort of brought them to Birmingham. And I was managing it here, and within like a year and a half or so, I was able to open the college in 12 cities and towns. And I was managing all of them, including it's about 1,000 learners, 1,000 students, and it was something else.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So from business manager, director, to unemployed for 11 months, to training during my unemployment days, to starting a new career as a tutor assessor, and I'm still doing it. And I have a business on its own for that.
For that
like
too.
a small college.
When you look at how far the business has gone, do you think it was worth it if you look at your life now and how the business is proceeding?
I think it was worth it. It is important for me to mention that from 2013, when I wound up and I went into education and training with this college I was talking to you about, at that time, BSI Brilliant Care was just there following. Until 2015, I decided to go back for BSI, but in training. So from 2015, I went for BSI, and then we started the, training business. Remember that company that I used to run from 2009 to was a different company name, not related to BSI. Right. So when that one wound up, then I started BSI in 2015, training care homes and carers and individuals and all of that. At the same time, I was working as the tutor in the college, and I had a second job with the college as the area business development manager. So that is the reason for me opening the college in 12 other cities and towns. Right. Yeah. So BSI effectively started in 2015, and we've been going good, not without challenges. 2015, 2017, unfortunately, I had an horrific car crash, and that sort of took me off the scene for 3 years. So from
Did you
2017,
stop, or did anybody else manage the business on your behalf?
we had to stop really because I was the main person there. My wife is a mental health nurse, and she even had to quit her job to be my carer for 3 years. So BSI was sort of following, yeah, until 2020 February, when I had it all clear that now I can walk, I can sit for a bit and all of that. I went back to starting to work for myself
Okay.
again. So there was an interval of, how do you call it, 3 years from 2017 September till February 2020, 2020. And then as I started working, a month later, COVID struck. And when COVID struck, that means I had to pay rent for 1 year or for the length of the time of COVID for nothing. And because my job was more customer facing, training in care homes in the community, then it was like I was unemployed again because of COVID. And so it was during that time I decided that I want to monetize the advice that I give to people. Because you call me on the phone, by the time we get done, I've given you a business idea. People were making money with it. So I said, okay, I don't have money coming in, so let me just do the consultancy proper.
You found something else to do.
And that is what looked after me and now is looking after me. To the extent that sometimes I forget to put invoices in for jobs that I've done. Yeah. So out of adversity comes new opportunities. Yeah. But at the moment, BSI, from when COVID went till now, I don't think we're doing badly.
Right.
Because at the moment, we have about 6 areas that we are into.
That's very good.
And then with my other company as well.
Other than that, do you have any other companies?
Yes, I have a real estate one. So it's like a property management one. That is acquired property investment. The idea is to have that as a vehicle, so then we can build property portfolio for commercial, for money.
Yeah.
But that one, we're not really doing it so strictly because of the COVID thing. But
Okay.
we're hoping that picks up. And as I said, I have Excel education and training. So I'm an MVQ center, so I provide qualifications for carers and individuals across the country. And one other job I do is I also consult for colleges. At the moment, I have about 4 colleges that I work with. I do both business development for them as well as teaching the learners the qualifications.
So how do you manage your time being a family man, being a businessman, and as well as being the presiding elder for Graceland PIWC?
Birmingham PIWC. Yeah, I think I'm managing it well because for me my first ministry is to my family. So I have to get down with what my kids need from me.
Yeah.
Then after doing the school drop-offs, giving support to my wife and all of that, then I come to the office. That's why I start my day from 10 a.m. and I finish at 4. Go home, pick them up from their bus stops, and then we go home. But there are times where I can overrun my time in the office. There are times I can leave here about 10 o'clock, or because I may have strict deadlines to work and all of that. In terms of church, it's not bad because it's usually like Friday and Sundays where we need to organize things. But thankfully, I have good people, very dependable and helpful people in the church who sort of help me with some of the things. So though sometimes can be very overwhelming, I think their support has helped with matters. Yes, I learned from my mistakes prior to 2017 where I thought I was so driven that I wake up with money on my mind. So I do 10 minutes prayer and the rest of it is money. Chasing business, big. I mean, a few other things I used to do. That is why I set up Brilliant Synergies. I used to do trade and investment brokerage for investors, and I take them to Ghana. I also got a job with the Ghana Ministry of Trade and Industry under the auspices of the Ghana Free Zones Board as a trade and investment ambassador. So I travel around the country, around the world, in certain specific countries, to go to meet with would-be investors, and I bring them to Ghana government. And all these, I made time for them.
Right. That's good. So a lot of people struggle with time management, and students, by example, we struggle with little things like uni deadlines, managing work, and staying at home. So you've given us a good overview of how you manage your time. So where do you see your business progressing in the next 5 years?
I'm seeing it as a national company where I aim to have care homes at least around most parts of the country. Particularly with my training, I think already I have, out of my 33 client companies that I provide training for, I think they are evenly spread across the country, and I'm hoping that it can grow larger. I have the same training company in Ghana, and I provide training for people in Ghana as well. So I have employers here who are recruiting people from Ghana, so I go down, do training for them, I take money.
Okay. So what are your responsibilities as a business owner? What do you do in a daily?
I think mainly the strategic and financial direction of the company. And if I want to narrow it down and look at maybe the HR, I look at the business development side of things, which is very key. Because all the other functional areas of business, they don't bring business to you. Yeah. And I also look at some admin stuff until recently that I've been able to get a very trusted and stable and permanent how do you call it, admin person. So I think I'm going to be able to focus on the big stuff.
What's your favorite part of your job? What do you enjoy the most?
Meeting people and speaking to people on phone, because a day average I take between 20 to 40 calls a day, and it is my responsibility to make sure that I close some of these calls and translate them into business.
Okay.
So every time I pick a call, within 3 to 5 minutes, I need to kill it. And that has to be £120 in my account for what they want me to do for them.
Thank you so much for coming here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Instagram, and our TikTok. This video is sponsored by Alpha Vision, as you can see here, and Bsi Healthcare. Stay tuned for our new clothing line. Bye.